In the capital city of Beijing, the emperors and their extended families lived in a vast complex of imperial buildings known as the Forbidden City. And by visiting it, we can greatly improve our understanding of how the emperors of China lived many centuries ago. To begin with, every aspect of the design of the Forbidden City and of the government administration that it housed was based on the ideals of the great Chinese philosopher Confucius. Construction began here in the year 1420, and when it was finished, this complex of buildings had nearly 9,000 rooms, and each day roughly 80,000 people could be found either working or living here. In the old days, ordinary people were not allowed to enter the Forbidden City, but now anyone that can afford the price of admission can do so. Today, the journey into the Forbidden City begins here at the Tiananmen Gate, or the Gate of Heavenly Peace. For over 6 centuries, the emperors of China came to this gate to make important public pronouncements. And it was also from here, back in 1949, that communist leader Mao Zedong, whose portrait adorns the gate, officially declared the birth of the People's Republic of China. On the other side of the Gate of Heavenly Peace is a large courtyard. This courtyard extends out from the imposing, heavily fortified Meridian Gate. Historically, this was the main entrance to the Forbidden City because the Meridian Gate is the south gate, the direction the Chinese associate with masculinity and power. Naturally, this gate's central doorway was for the use of the emperor alone. On the other side of this doorway is another huge courtyard. Through it flows a small stream called the Golden Water River that is crossed by 5 stone bridges. Each bridge represents a different Chinese virtue, for example, the virtue of intelligence or the virtue of courtesy. On the other side of the Golden Water River, visitors pass by some big metal pots that once stored water for fighting fires. After that, they are greeted by a pair of large bronze lions that symbolize imperial power. These lions acted as doorkeepers to ward off evil spirits and stood at the foot of another gate, the Gate of Supreme Harmony. Passing through this gate, imperial visitors entered the largest of the inner courtyards. Across this courtyard is where the first of the 3 great palaces of harmony is located. These palaces were the most important buildings in the Forbidden City, and they are slightly higher than any of the other buildings. The largest palace seen here, called the Palace of Supreme Harmony, was where the emperors were married, celebrated their birthdays, and announced the names of those who had passed the imperial examinations. During most such great events, the emperor sat inside the palace on this throne, while bands of court musicians played amazing music to entertain him. Behind the Palace of Supreme Harmony are the 2 other Palaces of Harmony. Inside the smaller one, the Palace of Middle Harmony, the emperor sat on this throne when he met with high officials and performed certain ceremonies. The last of the 3 great palaces is called the Palace of Preserving Harmony. Inside this palace, the emperor sat on this throne and oversaw the final stages of the imperial examinations. These tests were extremely difficult, but for those who passed them, a lifetime job in the emperor's government was all but guaranteed to them, and the man with the highest score was honored by being invited to stand on the head of this statue. After descending from the raised area where the 3 great palaces are located, another, much smaller gate, the Gate of Heavenly Purity, is reached, where 2 more statues of lions stand guard. The area beyond this gate was strictly off limits even to the most privileged visitors, because this was where the emperor actually lived. Chinese emperors had lots of children and lots of wives, and the emperor's highest-ranking wife received the title of empress. On the other side of the wall from where the emperor and empress lived are the imperial gardens. This park-like area is filled with trees, unusual rocks, and several small buildings constructed for the enjoyment of the emperor and his family. And beyond the gardens, it is possible to exit the Forbidden City through its northern, feminine gate, the Gate of Divine Prowess, and return once again to the world of ordinary human beings.